All right, so everybody starts the year off with a New Year's resolution. Mine wasn't to eat less carbohydrates, burn 500 calories a day, or read 3 books a month. Mine was to adjust how I pronounce Oregon because I got trolled by Ducks fans last year multiple times on this channel about how I pronounce Oregon. And I'm exercising discipline right now. I want so badly to say Oregon because that's my accent. That's my upstate New York accent, and that's how I've always said Oregon. So I have to condition myself to say Oregon. But I've been intentional and I've been succeeding. The road to improvement starts here. And from here on out, I promise Ducks fans, I will say Oregon. So please don't come at me for the pronunciation. Instead, listen to the content that I have to deliver in this video. I may at times just refer to Oregon as the Ducks, because you can't mispronounce Ducks. But without further ado, it's time to talk about those mighty Ducks. And there are a lot of people out there who believe that those Ducks are going to be just that this year. Mighty. Oregon is going into its first year in the Big Ten. And for a team that's joining a new conference, there are some lofty expectations for the Ducks. According to FanDuel, the Ducks have the fourth highest odds to win the college football playoff national championship this year and the second highest odds to win the Big Ten championship. Again, in their first year in the conference. Those odds are significantly higher than both Penn State and your defending national champion Michigan Wolverines. So you may ask yourself, what's cooking up in Eugene for there to be such magnificent hype built around their squad this year? Well, for starters, Oregon has one of the best offensive coordinators in college football. He goes by the name Will Stein, and this is a bad man. If you don't know this name, you know it now. Know it, live it, love it, be about it. Will Stein is the man. He's the one that is responsible for building that explosive offense that you saw Oregon display last year that had 531.4 yards per game. And so you may ask yourself, yeah, that was one season, but how can you live up to that standard again? Well, Mr. Will Stein was back at it again. He went out and brought in Oklahoma quarterback Dylan Gabriel, who was pretty good last year. I'd say he had a pretty excellent season. He threw 30 touchdown passes with only 6 interceptions. He's great at evading pressure. Dylan Gabriel is a great dual threat quarterback, so he's great on his legs, and he has amazing touch and accuracy. And I'll say his deep ball looks pretty good too. Dylan Gabriel is a bona fide Heisman candidate, and that's exactly what Oregon needs to continue to have this offense operates at the amazing level that it was last year. And to make matters better for the Ducks and matters worse for their opponents, Dylan Gabriel is throwing to a potentially electric wide receiver room. It's comprised of Tez Johnson. Tez Johnson is Oregon's single-season receptions leader, so the man is known for his output. Gary Bryant Jr., Trayshawn Holden, the Alabama transfer himself, and Will Stein worked his magic on this one too. Oregon went out and got Texas A&M transfer wide receiver Evan Stewart, and this is a young man who I firmly believe has a lot of potential. It definitely has not been tapped into yet, but hopefully Oregon is the right program and destination for Evan Stewart to enable himself to tap into his potential. Not only tap into it, but maximize his potential and blossom into the complete receiver that he can be. And if he can blossom into the best version of himself, this Oregon offense is going to look exceptionally dangerous. And to add on to that, Oregon's O-line is going to be fantastic this year. So Dylan Gabriel is going to have protection to work his magic, and it's going to be entertaining to watch. Defensively, there's not as much certainty for the Ducks, but there certainly is a lot of potential. Oregon's offense is one of those units that you can compare to your most elite college football programs. it's engineered so that there's depth. You can lose players to the draft, but you have a whole other second team down here that you're ready to rotate up to first. That second string is better than most other teams' third and fourth strings on Oregon's offense. And that's how it's become so dominant. Defensively, they're getting their way there. But last season, 2023, was an absolute hallmark year for progress when it comes to Oregon's defense. And so Ducks fans are wondering, will this year build upon the foundation that 2023 established? And I think it can. Because while Oregon lost some players on its defense from last year, there's still a lot of guys who I think can have a significant impact, including Jordan Birch and Blake Purchase. Oregon's defensive line is re-engineered. It's going to look different than last year. It's a new look interior defensive line. But with gentlemen like those two I just mentioned and more, I think it can be just as, if not even more effective than last year. Oregon's linebacker room is very strong. In fact, Oregon has one of the best linebacker duos in the nation. And Justin Jacobs and Jeffrey Bassa. It's watching those two play is going to be incredible this year. One of the best linebacker duos in the nation. I'll say it again. Oregon's cornerback room, it's made up of transfers, and I don't particularly like that because going back these past several years, when you have units, like individual units, cornerbacks, linebackers, wide receivers, when they're all transfers, their chemistry can be weird. It's tough for them to mesh and congenialize together. So it's a question mark. Not saying it can't happen, but that's probably that's the Oregon's cornerback room is the elements of their defense that I'm the most skeptical of. But besides that, I think that the production can meet what it was last year, and if not, exceed it. Yes, there's a lot of high expectations for this Oregon team, but I think they're justified. And of course, you're watching The Air with Brian Gregoire. Please subscribe, of course. We're trying to hit 500 subscribers by week 1. But since you're watching this channel, you know that we're going to be talking about schedules. When you look at Oregon's schedule, definitely Boise State's for any former Pac-12 team, or really any Power 5 team. This is a scary team to play. Boise State has always had a chip on their shoulder. They have to travel to Corvallis to play Oregon State in September. Not on Thanksgiving weekend, September. That's strange, but you know, this old-fashioned college football mind will get used to that eventually. Oregon's lucky in the fact that they get to host Ohio State, and that's going to be one of the best games of the year. I'm doing nothing during that game besides watching it. Like, no plans. Don't make any plans with me that day, because I'm going to be at a bar somewhere watching that game, and I guarantee it. They also get Washington at home at the end of the year. Oregon has to travel to Ann Arbor to play Michigan. And I know Michigan's roster compared to last year is kind of diluted, but you're still going to the big house. It's still going to be a challenge. And they have to go to Camp Randall to play Wisconsin. They're going to be jumping around. It'll be a tough environment, but I think Oregon can win both those games. This is a very promising squad. The only thing I'll say, they can't lose to the same team twice in 1 year again. They've done it 2 of the last 3 years. 2021, they lost to Utah twice. Last year, they lost to Washington twice. You can't lose to Ohio State twice this year. At some point, you got to seal the deal. But I think that through the guidance of Dan Lanning and the culture he's building up in Eugene, they're not going to fall short in those games much longer. They're going to start to capitalize. They're going to start to execute. They're going to start to deliver. And these Oregon Ducks are going to start to make a household name for themselves. And I do think it starts with this 2024 campaign. Have a great day. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate you and the time that you took out of your day to watch the video. And if you enjoyed it, please be sure to like the video and share it, as well as subscribe to The Era. The more likes and subscribers I get on this channel, the more resources I can attain, and the more resources I can attain, the more value I can provide to you, the viewer. And that is how I show my appreciation for you for the time that you devote to watching my videos. So thank you so much, and have a great day.